Okay, here's a good question to ask you. Okay, whom should you take advice from and whom should you not take advice from? Really good question for you. Okay, think again what I've said. Whom should you take advice from and whom you should not take advice from? Very tricky question. Okay, now should you take advice from your parents who have the best intentions for you? Should you take advice from people who have achieved success and they believe they have the secret to success? Should you take advice from coaches and gurus? Or should you take advice from people who are well-wishers or just random people here and there? Okay. Now, let me give you a couple of examples. Okay, let me give you a couple of examples. You see my face? See, my face is tattooed. Okay. I can assure you this much. No matter who you ask, no matter which human being you ask, if you ask them, is getting a face tattoo a good idea or bad? 99 out of 100, they will say, you're fucking crazy. It's a bad idea. Don't fucking do it. Okay. In fact, anybody asks me, a guy who has a face tattoo, if they ask me, Loy, is getting a face tattoo a good idea? I would reply by saying, forget face tattoo, not even neck tattoo, not even fucking tattoo where you can see on your forearms and hands, not even on visible parts of your leg. Don't fucking get a tattoo. And you'll be like, what? Loy, you're such a fucking hypocrite, man. It's like, what the fuck are you telling people not to get a face tattoo? You're such a fucking hypocrite. You have got a face tattoo and you're telling others not to get a face tattoo? It's the same thing if you look at it. You know, when I tell people, when I give people advice on marriage, a happy marriage or relationships, immediately there are these self-righteous fucking pricks who will comment, ha ha ha, look who's giving advice on a happy marriage. A guy who has been divorced 3 times. A guy who couldn't keep his marriage intact 3 times. Look who's talking. A person who was sleeping around like a whore. Or, you know, people have all these kind of comments. Now, let me answer this. Whom would you take advice on having a happy married life? A priest or a person who's married? Obviously married. And now, if you ask someone a happy married life, there is one person who is only a perfect marriage. Another guy is married 7 times and now he's happily married. Who should you take advice from? Generally, people will say, take advice from the guy who is married once. He has made all the right choices. But here's the thing. How many human beings do you know who made the right choice the first time, every time? The majority of us will have had made tremendous number of bad choices, bad decisions. You know, in a perfect world, everything that you do should be perfect and you should achieve perfect results. But the fact is, many of us make a lot of bad mistakes. You know, when I have to take I'm telling you, I'm not trying to justify. If I have to take a new idea or concept, I look at those people who have failed and I ask myself, why the fuck did they fail? Even when I go through Amazon reviews, I don't check the 5-star rating because you can get paid reviews. You can get fake reviews. You can buy them. It's very easy. I can pay an agency. They'll get their people. I just have to pay the extra charges. They'll get a lot of fake reviews. How do you think people have a best-selling book? They know how to make sure that the book is purchased online when it's launched. They have all these strategies. That's why all these guys who have bestsellers, they are actually fake. They are not bestsellers. They are all fucking crap. So now, when I purchase from Amazon, I don't see the 5-star reviews. I see the 1-star, 2-star, 3-star. Okay, I try to understand and read. Okay, why did they not like it, the product or service? Okay, even in terms of let's say whether it's business, relationship, friendships, you should not always see the perfect, the good, because the fact of the matter is, we all want good. We all want to succeed. but there will be many failures. Like, how many people you know have subscribed to Tony Robbins seminars, Jack Ma's Words of Wisdom, Elon Musk's Secrets of Success, and this and that? We always go for these people who have achieved, oh, this big, oh, he's Richard Branson, The Virgin Way, and all that. We buy all these books. I have all these books, I have all these CDs, I have all these tapes. But the fact of the matter is, none of their advice, if I were to apply, I'll achieve anything what they have applied. In fact, all the advice that they have given, anybody could have given. Teamwork, hard work, your attitude, never give up on your dream, dare to try something new. They would have given the generic advice your grandfather or grandmother in the village would have given you. But people would rather spend money, buy a book, a CD, DVD, and go to one of these gurus to hear the secrets of success. Okay? So now the question is, so do you take advice from someone who's success or someone who has experienced failure? Now, I'm not saying I'm the best standard to get these pieces of advice, but my perspective and experience on failure will better equip you on what not to do. On what to do, it's very easy. Find the perfect person who matches you. But what not to do is what I personally know. I've burnt my fingers. I have gone into depression. I've nearly wanted to kill myself. Okay? So those experiences are real. It's ugly, but it's real. Same thing about face tattoos. Why, people, hey, what the fuck, man? You're giving advice on not to have tattoo. Yes, because I know the dangers, the risks, the challenges you will face when trying to get a face tattoo or visible tattoos. Forget being judged. Forget corporate opportunities. The dangers can be from immigration to police randomly coming up at your door, even though you have not done anything. You can be, in my case, I don't smoke, I don't drink. Okay, I've never touched that. Only thing, I used to have girlfriends. That also is stopped. Now, even with all this, you can be rest assured, so many times cops have come on my door, out of the blue. They're just like, oh, we heard this, we heard that. But now, now people know me, so no matter anyone cooks up a new story, nothing is going to happen to me. Okay? Because, I get noticed very fast. But then there are other opportunities. Do you know how many times when I have... this you'll find funny. When I registered on Tinder, marriage websites, when I've asked for a shipment and they have asked me for my profile and I've given my actual name, they have responded by saying, you're not allowed to use, you're not allowed to impersonate a famous celebrity, star, or create a fake profile. Please give your true identity. I said, I'm the same guy. They said, the final warning. And then finally they say, listen, I tell them, you can have a video conference. That time Zoom was not there. You can have a video conference. They say, no, just send your passport. So, and when I send my passport and they realize I'm the same guy, they're like, oh, fuck, you're the same guy. So sometimes even being too famous is also not good. I'll tell you, really, it's bad. Being famous, do you know this? Anybody who sees me one time, they never, ever fucking forget me. Never. Which is obvious. But this brings about a whole host of challenges. Many people feel I'm purposely ignoring them. Many people feel I'm disrespecting them because they remember me. I don't remember them. People have seen me once 7 years ago and they still, hey. So obviously you can't get away with any shit. Which, anyway, is a good thing or bad thing, you decide. So, coming back to what I was telling you. The reason why I am able to give better advice at a few things is because I've made plenty of mistakes. So I'm not trying to market my services for advice. The question that I asked you is, who is the right person to give advice and whom should you take advice from? And why I brought this topic is, I had a young man yesterday who told me, Loy, I want to learn affiliate marketing. Okay? Genuine guy from India, wants to learn affiliate marketing. And he gave me the name of one guy and he said, this guy is offering me a course. I told him, listen, a person who is making money in affiliate marketing will not have a course on affiliate marketing. A person who is just average, he will teach you a course. Do you know why? Because a person who is successful at a particular genre would never share his secrets with anybody. I'll make you understand. Let's say, for example, you have a shop, a successful shop. You're buying and selling Chinese silk. Okay? Just give me an example. And you're making shitloads of money. Now, all of a sudden, there's one guy. He wants to open up a shop. So he comes to you and says, hey man, I need your advice and guidance. So you say, what? I want to open a Chinese silk shop also. Can you tell me who's your supplier? Can you tell me where you're getting at a lower cost? Can you tell me where I can sell for a profit? Can you tell me who's your target market? Do you think this guy is going to give you a course? And that also a cheap course, $97. I'll teach you the secrets from where I buy, who's my supplier, who's my target market, what is the rate. I'll tell you everything so you can become my competitor. Do you seriously think he'll do that? Have you ever asked yourself why Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, why these guys are truly successful, why they never give you a course? Because it's fucking bullshit, man. These individuals have exploited this loophole of people who are thirsty for knowledge and have taken them for a ride. See, even me, I have got people who are ready to pay me, and I'm not joking, $10,000 to learn how to resume rebrand. Because my basic coaching for 1 year is $10,000. That's a minimum. It goes up to 25, 50, different slabs are there. So 10,000 is my minimum. So I've got an offer, $10,000 to learn coaching. Now, learn resume rebrand. Now, should I say yes or no? If I say yes, I'm creating another competitor. Okay? I'm telling him my trade secrets. I'm telling him where I get my resumes from, where did I study, whom did I learn it from. Now, before I answer this question, let me ask you, do you think I will say yes or no? It's good money. It's $10,000. Okay? So here's my question to you. Do you think I'll say yes or no? Okay? I'll give you 5 seconds. Just be genuine. Tell me yes or no. Okay, 5 seconds over. So you decided, right? Yes or no? Okay? Now I'll give you my answer. If I was buying and selling a product, okay, a product, I was buying from China and I was selling to someone, I wouldn't tell. If it was a OEM, other equipment manufacturer, and I'm putting my sticker on it, I wouldn't tell. But if it is an artistic skill, like drawing, like painting, like being a tattoo artist, that I wouldn't mind sharing. You know why? Because you cannot learn just in one sitting. In fact, even if I teach you for 1 year, it will take you practice of hours and hours and hours and hours to reach up to my level. See, there is a possibility that you can get better than me, 100%. There are people who, let's say for example, say a boxing coach, he ends up being always better than his coach. Muhammad Ali must have learned from some coach. Mike Tyson learned from his coach. He became 100 times greater than him. So there's always a possibility the student can become greater than the master. But in my case, I'm not insecure about it because I've spent 20 years of learning how to write, script writing, 20 years of practicing public speaking, 20 years of practicing how to market myself. And this, what I'm doing, how I get clients, is a very, it's not a straightforward way. If you notice, my videos are not about resume rebranding. My videos are about life, about India, Pakistan, about politics, about UAE. So it's a mixed bag. And through them, by relevant topics, people talk about it. Now it's just plain luck. I'll tell you, just plain luck. So if anyone were to learn the skill that they are asking me, it's a hit or miss. So I wouldn't mind teaching them. But if it was a product, like I'm buying this and I'm selling it, I wouldn't tell them. Why? Because then maybe they can stop that supplier from sending it to me. Maybe they'll pay more money. Maybe they'll attack my own target market. It's like, I told you, a shop, and they're planning to open a next shop next to you. So that's dangerous. So the second part of whom should you take advice from is, if someone is successful, they'll not teach you their art or their craft. See, third one, you have parents giving you advice. Okay, parents, loved ones, teachers. Now, this is a very tricky situation. Should you listen or should you not listen? See, for example, a parent will tell you study hard. Now, that is good advice. They'll tell you don't smoke, don't drink. That is good advice. They might tell you don't get married to this person. Person has stupid habits. That is good advice. But then in the same light, the very same piece of advice can be bad. Like, for example, they tell you study hard, let's say science. You don't want to do science, you want to do commerce, but they force you to become a doctor or something, and you end up failing and losing interest. So even though good advice, but it's bad for you, right? Okay, let's assume the second example. They say, obviously, don't smoke, don't drink is always bad. They tell you, don't get married to this person. I know of one case where the parent told, don't get married to this person, and she eventually listened and didn't get married to this guy. He was an ordinary guy. Today, this is a real story, huh? Today this guy is a multi-millionaire. She is ordinary. This guy has become filthy fucking rich. How I know this? That female talks to me about it. Don't worry, she didn't want to marry me. She is far more older. So, and she kicks herself every single day. Why the fuck she didn't marry him? So, see, here, the intention is good, but they're not qualified to give you advice. It's like asking bodybuilding advice from a person who reads only books. Now, I'm sure you'll say, yeah, there are a lot of coaches who don't have a big body. But I would rather take advice from a guy who has experimented with different things, who knows different products, and is well qualified, rather than a nerd who just reads and tells me, okay, this is what is said on the label. So now, finally, it comes down to the bottom line. So whom do you take advice from? Paid? A paid coach? Or unpaid? Your relatives? Or not? Do you take from people who have achieved success or failure? I'll give you the best solution I have come out with. Okay, the best solution. What I've done is, through the years, I made a lot of questionable decisions on who to take advice from. I have paid plenty of coaches, I've bought plenty of books, I've taken CDs, MP3s, online courses. If I tell you I spent $500,000 on all this, I'm not exaggerating. It is a span of 20-25 years, man. Every single day, every single week, every single month I've spent money. And then, like everything that I do is overboard. Tattoos, overboard. Girlfriends, overboard. Books, overboard. Courses, overboard. Everything I do, extreme. So through my experience, I can tell you, the best solution, whom to take advice from, is anyone and everyone, but take small bits. Like, for example, when I have to take, let's say, a new coach, okay, even I have to learn. So instead of paying this guy $10,000, they might have 10,000, 50,000, whatever. I always take not their sales funnel. Now, don't mistake. Like, for example, if you enroll for Thai Lopez's course or something, he'll say first free email. Then he'll ask you $1. Then he'll ask you, oh, but I have a special bonus offer for $7, which is $100 worth. Then I have, if you take $1,500, I'll give you for $49. No, he's trying to push more sales. He's trying to get more money out of you. No, that's not the way. You take the smallest service that the person has. Okay, let's say, for example, I want to make I want to build a house. I'll just give you an example. So if I want to build a house and I know this guy can build a house, first I'll ask him a small job. Okay, can you make this area, the small area, let's say near the where I park the motorbike. Okay, can you just fix this area? I'll fix, I'll see how does he do, payment, quality of work, everything. Okay, then I'll ask him, okay, can you fix the doors? Okay, I'll check there. Then I'll check, okay, can you do the electrical fitting? I'll check his work there. So now what I've done is I've given him small contracts, very small, which even if he does a fuckhole job, it's not going to bite into my savings. Okay? And then obviously I'll compare it with somebody else. I'll give them the same job or something similar, and I'll compare it with this other person. Like even for my house, there are plumbers, there are electricians, there are miscellaneous work that they do, drainage, this, that. There's so many electrical circuitry. So I've made it a policy never to ask the same guy, because sometimes, as you trust them more and more, they take you for a ride. So when I ask different people, like even a cleaner, I can compare and contrast. Eventually, at some point, after trying out 2 or 3 people, or 4 or 5 people, you will come to a point where you'll know this person is good. I've used this strategy for choosing a girlfriend or wife. I've used this strategy for choosing a country to migrate to. Puppy dogs. I'll show you, see. They're new. They're afraid. Come here. Come. They're all shy and scared. I've used it for, even if it's restaurants, even if it's a chef, even if it's electrician, I've done the same thing. I've always given small contracts to people before the big decision. Okay? Now the reason for this is, especially when you're going to entrust this person with something big, it's a point of no return. Maybe after you entrust them with something big, maybe it's going to backfire. So to keep that risk minimal, I always give small projects. And see, this is also an area where you have to be very careful, because anyone who's a fraudster, a person who wants to cheat you, this is the strategy they adopt. Like in UAE, in the Middle East, what these guys do is first they'll order, these scammers who take products and don't pay. They'll first order, let's say for example, 10 units. And they'll say, how much for this 10 units? Okay, they'll immediately pay cash. Then after a few days, they'll buy 100 units from 10. Whatever price you say, they'll not negotiate. They'll pay you. Then they'll ask you 500 units. Then they'll pay you. 1000 units. Then they'll pay you. And very soon you'll be like, fuck, this guy is so damn good. Whatever I quote him, he doesn't negotiate. He just buys it. So slowly they'll try to get your trust by ordering a bigger amount. And not only a bigger amount, they'll ask for, okay, give me a PDC. Give me, a few days. I'll pay you after 3 days, then 1 week, then 1 month. And finally, when they have got your trust and they know that you're willing to give them a really big amount, they will give you, let's say, for example, 1 million worth of units. And they'll ask you for a favorable time period in terms of payment. And then they'll say, we'll give you back. And you'll be like, oh, fuck, they have always paid me for all the times I asked them. They'll pay me for this. They'll take the biggest lot and then they'll run away. And they do this not with one person. They'll do it simultaneously with 30, 40, 50 people. So you can imagine 1 million into 50, that's quite a huge amount. It's a very elaborate scheme, but this is only for advanced level scammers and fraudsters. But for the general population, for the general people, always follow this protocol of trying small with a person and find out with no promise that you're going to give them more business. Like there are so many customers of mine whom, when they give me business, sometimes, they give their typical Indian ball talk. Hey man, I'm going to give you more business. I'll just tell them that we'll figure out later. Let's finish this. And when it's finished, I always imagine and visualize they'll never come back to me again. Never. So I give them the best of the best and finish. Done deal. If they come back, it's a bonus. And the reason why this is a good strategy is because once you, pay a person and the deal is done, after sales, if in case you get in touch with them, do they still treat you nicely? Do they still talk to you? Or is it more like when they wanted your money, they were sweet with you, later on they treat you like shit? And the last piece of suggestion that I can give you, whom to take advice from, is always make sure the person you are dealing with, all his details or her details are known. Everything. In my case, people know my number, WhatsApp or phone number. They know where I stay. They know where I live. Everything, all my details. There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide because I have nothing to hide. So anyone can get in touch with me. I have, I'm not cheating anyone. So why do I have to hide? But if in case you get in touch with somebody whom, if you have to get in touch with them, you don't know. If they block you, let's say, from a number, you don't know who they are, where they are, whom to get in touch with. Finished, right? Yeah, I know what you'll say. Aloy, if you block me through email and you block me through WhatsApp, how can I contact you? Online, you can put up a post or a video and it'll trend. I can tell you that much. Anything that you put about me, it will trend. Because when people search my name, the algorithm will offer this alternative to you. So I hope this gives you a little bit of insight whom to take advice from, whom to follow. Because sometimes we make these major decisions in life from love, relationships, career, and we're not too sure. But all I'll tell you is be careful whom you take advice from, be careful what advice you take from them, and be careful what you implement in your life, because sometimes it can really destroy you. Last if not the least, this I'll just leave you with, is end of the day, keep in mind, the decision has to be yours. The responsibility has to be yours. I have made plenty of choices, whether it's tattooing my face, whether it's dropping out of college, whether it's marrying the wrong person. Some of them were horribly wrong, bad advice, but I took complete responsibility for it. Complete, because, if I succeed, it's me. If I fail, it's me. So same thing I will tell you. If you are going to take a decision after taking advice, make sure that you empower yourself and say, I'm responsible for this, nobody else. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I'm making this decision because I want to make it. And when you owe that decision, when you own it, whether it's right or wrong, and you take charge, that's where it's not just the advice. It's you who will make it succeed or fail. And that's more empowering and powerful than just by saying, oh, I took advice from him and putting the blame on everyone else. So I hope this added some value, whom to take advice from and why you should take advice from. And let me know, what do you think? Do you think what I shared with you made sense? Let me know your thoughts. And yeah, I still tell you, don't get a fucking face tattoo. It's one of the worst things you can do in life. Just don't do it. I got lucky. Forget face tattoo. Don't get a tattoo any visible place until you have set your career and you have crossed about 35 or 40. Only then do it. Alright? Having said that, when you're signing off, let me know your comments down below. Ciao.